I've now had the 3F Lanshan 1 Pro tent for 2 years. In the past 2 years, I spent over 40 nights across a variety of conditions, from bikepacking the North Coast 500 in Scotland to hiking in the Peruvian Andes. Hello everyone, my name is Richard, and this is my long-term review of the 3F Lanshan 1 Pro Ultralight tent. I believe transparency is the best policy, so full disclosure, I received the tent free of charge from 3F 2 years ago for the 3F Lanshan 1 versus the 3F Lanshan 1 Pro video that I did. All opinions are mine and are solely based on my experience with the tent over the past 2 years. 3F has no editorial rights and are seeing this video for the first time at the same time as you guys. The 3F Lanshan 1 Pro, after scene sealing, weighs 744 grams, including its 41 gram stuff sack, meaning the tent by itself weighs a very manageable 703 grams. The Lanshan 1 Pro also comes with 9 aluminium Y stakes that weighs 96 grams altogether, along with a peg stuff sack that weighs 7 grams. In the past 2 years, I've gotten pretty used to pitching the 3F Lanshan 1 Pro tent, and it's become second nature to me. I find the easiest way to pitch the tent is to imagine the tent is a rectangle, and I start with the 4 corners of the rectangle. So I start with one side and I peg the first corner of the rectangle in, followed by the corner of the rectangle on the same side, pulling the side until it feels tight. Then I move to the other side, again pulling the peg point until it's tight, pegging the corner in, followed by the final corner of the imagined rectangle. I then peg out the peg point at the rear of the tent, before finally inserting the trekking pole set at 125 centimeters, and then hook the door up to the guy line and peg out the guy line. To finish, I peg out the remaining guy lines and readjust any stakes as needed. Inside the Lanshan 1 Pro, there is ample space. I am 180 centimeters tall, and I can lie in the tent on my back and not touch any of the walls with a foam mat or with an air mat. In fact, there's space both at the bottom of the tent and at the top of the tent. There's also plenty of space to the side of the tent to store all your gear inside the tent if you wanted to. The space inside the Lanshan 1 Pro makes it really convenient for changing in and out of clothes and packing my backpack before I get out of the tent, something that I really cherish when it's raining. I've used the Lanshan 1 Pro in a variety of conditions, including heavy downpour and strong winds. The 3F Lanshan 1 Pro has never let me down in poor weather. It's kept me dry in the rain and deals with heavy wind fantastically, thanks to its shape which just cuts through the wind. Durability wise, the Lanshan 1 Pro tent has held up fantastically over the past 2 years. The bathtub floor is in mint condition with no holes or any other sorts of damage. I don't baby my gear, but I normally use a piece of polychrome window insulation as a makeshift ground sheet. The fly sheet and the stitching is also flawless. Again, there are no damages, rips, or any threads coming undone. Similarly, the mesh has also held up well. Although there are a couple of minuscule imperfections in my mesh, they're so small that you really have to squint to see them, and they're not big enough to let flies through. The zips are functioning well and they glide as smoothly as they did on day 1, and the band for the ventilation gap at the top of the tent is still stiff. The Lanshan 1 Pro is a single layer tent, which means it is susceptible to condensation buildup on the inside. I've had some nights where there was no condensation at all when I woke up, and I've also had nights where I've had to wipe away the condensation with a microfiber towel periodically through the night. There are things that you can do to help you reduce the condensation in the Lanshan 1 Pro. Along with choosing a place to camp that helps you manage the condensation, I now prefer to use the Lanshan 1 Pro more like a tarp rather than a tent to help manage the condensation even more. I don't usually zip up the doors on my Lanshan 1 Pro, preferring to either pitch it with one door open that's held by another trekking pole and an additional guy line, or by pitching the tent with the doors partially rolled up halfway and hooking the tent door guy line to the zip loops, almost like a tarp. I prefer to pitch the Lanshan 1 Pro in this tarp mode, except from when it's likely to rain. The disadvantage of pitching the tent with the doors rolled partially up is that it greatly reduces the vestibule space, to the point where my shoes may get wet depending on the direction of the incoming rain. When it's more likely to rain, pitching the Lanshan 1 Pro with one door held open is a great compromise. There's still plenty of vestibule space, and it still helps with managing the condensation by keeping one door open and letting more air circulate. Because the 3F Lanshan 1 Pro is made from sil nylon, it means that it is not seam sealed out of the factory and that the user has to seam seal it themselves. I seam sealed my tent with sil net, and the process was really straightforward. My 3F Lanshan 1 Pro and the 3F Lanshan 1 comparison video from 2 years ago shows how to do the seam sealing. Overall, the 3F Lanshan 1 Pro has been fantastic, and I'm glad that I made it my tent of choice in the past 2 years. I've not missed the double-layered Lanshan 1 at all. The Lanshan 1 Pro, compared to its predecessor, is bigger, better, and more comfortable. And most importantly, I know the Lanshan 1 Pro is a tent that I can trust and I can depend on. I'm never concerned with whether the 3F Lanshan 1 Pro will hold up in the wind or if it will keep the rain out, because I know the answer is that yes, it will. The only thing I think about when I use the tent is how to manage the condensation, which can be helped by both choosing where to pitch and how you pitch the tent. The 3F Lanshan 1 Pro is a great single-person ultralight tent. I think its price to performance to weight ratio is simply unrivaled. I will be continuing to use the 3F Lanshan 1 Pro in all my solo adventures. It's a versatile tent that I'm familiar with, and no real downsides as long as the condensation is managed. If you think the 3F Lanshan 1 Pro could be the ultralight tent for you, I have a link to the tent from 3F's official store in the description below. If you have any questions about the tent or my experiences with the tent, please put a comment in the comment section and I'll do my best to answer them. As always, thank you all for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.